Welcome to Object Oriented Programming C++ practical sessions. Here we are going to understand how to write a class in C++, how to compile it and run it using dev C++ 2. So let's begin with the session. So first of all, open dev C++ and then click File, New Project. Then here you have to select Console Application C++ project and press OK. It will ask you to save the project, so save it with the default. So by default, #include iostream is already been written. Simply you have to type using namespace standard ended with semicolon. Now let's begin for writing the class marks. In marks private, we are going to declare two variables, int m1 and int n2. So next to that, let's declare public members, in which void get data void. So it is not going to receive any arguments. That will be the task of this function. Then display, again void type and receiving no arguments. So after declaring these public members of the class marks, let's end the declaration of class with semicolon. Now let's write definition for the functions. First function is get data, so it is of void type, so void marks and scope resolution operator, then get data with the empty brackets after get data. Next to that, cout for output stream to display text on the console window, enter marks for sub1 colon, then output stream ending with endl to start the cursor at the next line, then cin for input stream, that we are going to store the input in m1. So after copy paste, we are going to use similar thing to take input to m2 for subject 2. Then void marks scope resolution operator and display. Next to that, simply display using output stream, that the taken input from the user, the marks of sub1, use m1 for that. Make sure that you are closing inverted commas right after this end of the string, then m1, again next string for subject 2, completion of string, and then use m2 to print the m2 contents, then end the line and let the cursor go to the next line. By default, we have already received int main, so simply marks c will be the object of marks class, then c dot get data ending with the semicolon, and then c dot display ending with the semicolon. Simply after this completion of the code, save the file. It will ask you to save it by default with the main.cpp name, then execute, compile, wait for successful compilation. So here we see the code is successfully compiled. Then run it using run option from execute menu. Enter marks for sub1, let it be 10, and for sub2 it will be 20. So now we understand that the class is working successfully, inputs are taken and output is properly displayed. This way, basic skill of writing the class in C++ we completed. Now for second method of writing the code using the definition of functions in the same class or inside the class, we write the similar code. So whatever definition of the functions we had written outside of the class, after using scope resolution operator, we simply copy the code and put into respective functions where we wish to write the definition inside the class itself. Then whatever the outside the class definitions were, delete them. Simply after this, compile the code You can make this by starting a new project also. After compilation, run, enter marks for subject 1, subject 2 and wait for the output. So this way how the functions can be defined inside class itself and how public members can access private members of the same class. So let's begin for the third work in which we wish to develop a simple calculator program. So we use for that M1, M2, M3 variables. Then we change the contents for marks to number. Let's change the name of the class to calc. Then in display we are going to display the result that will be stored in variable M3. So result is M3 that we are going to write. So here we remove all the previous contents that we had written already. Next to that, we write the function void add. The definition of the function will be itself inside the class as per the second method we follow. So M3 is equal to M1 plus M2. Now similarly, we are going to write 4 functions for add, subtraction, multiplication and division. So we simply copy paste and modify the contents, which will be little faster than writing from the scratch. So here will be the last function, multiplication. Next to that, in subtraction, you will have to perform M1 minus M2. In division, it may happen that user may provide M2 as 0, which will create math error. So here you are going to check first whether M2 is greater than 0, and if it is, then only perform the division operation. Else simply print that there is mathematical error, or simply put the message that you wish that user should come to know. So the number cannot be 0, or number cannot be divided by 0. Next to that, simply we wish to add these or call these functions in the main function. So instead of marks class, make the object of calc class as C itself. Then we are going to take inputs using get data function. So here number 1 will be the first input required and number 2 second. Then C dot get data is already been called. Next to that, call C dot add. Then display the result. Perform operation similarly using same numbers and call different functions of arithmetic operations one by one and display the results. So here we complete our simple calculator program. Now let us compile it. So here we get the error. The error is that semicomma is not found. So we forgot to type semicomma. So make sure you are typing semicomma at the end of each call of the function. Then compile. So here we get successful compilation of the program. Then run it, enter first number, make 20 and 4. So here we get 24, 16, 5 and 24. Well, actually the result of multiplication should be 80. So let's check the code again. Well, here multiplication operation should be called. So let's check the result again. Same result we are getting. So it means that without compiling the modified code, we simply run. So previous compiled program was called. So recompile it, whatever the modifications are, that will take place, and then run again. Now put the numbers again. You will get the correct results. So 24, 16, 5 and 80. are for addition, subtraction, division and multiplication.